Hello. So I have this question up here, and it is an SAT question. I got it from Manhattan Review. So Manhattan Review website, it gives you a step-by-step breakdown of how to solve this problem. I'm going to go ahead and do it as well. So let's see, let's get it started. So with this particular question, we're not allowed to use a calculator. So I'm going to read the question. It says the terms W, X, Y, and Z are linked by the following relation. X square Y equals 3W over cube root Z. What is the correct expression for the term Z? Okay, so this is kind of tricky, right? I mean, like, what is it asking? It's like, what do you mean correct expression? So it's kind of tricky. All it's asking you to do, all it wants you to do is isolate Z. That's it. You're just going to throw everything over to the other side of the equality symbol or equal sign, and that's it. You're literally done. That's all you got to do. So let's go ahead and start that. I'm going to rewrite it, right? So that's square if there's a little 2 dangling on the top. I have a fraction here. And anytime you see a little tiny 3 next to this little check mark thing, that's called cube root. Okay, so that's what we got going on here. So here's the thing. I have to get Z by itself. So maybe you're thinking intuitively, let me get rid of that 3W. I mean, you could do that, but the thing is, it's going to get kind of elaborate because now you're going to end up with a fraction still, because the whole goal is to kind of get rid of the fraction, make it easier. You're going to have a fraction, and eventually you're going to have to flip the whole entire thing over, and it gets a little bit, a lot of steps. It gets a little bit cumbersome. So let's go ahead and actually, it sounds weird, but we're actually going to move the Z over. Why am I doing that? Well, because I'm going to get rid of the fraction, just to make it a little bit more clean for myself. Z1, whatever you do to one side, you've got to do to the other. So you see how these are both the same, so they cross out. So I'm left with cube root Z times X square Y. I'm not going to put that little 1 in the bottom because you could use it, but it's not necessary. And I'm left with 3W. Great, we got rid of the fractions. I mean, we're doing great so far. So, of course, the goal is to isolate Z, right? It's asking that in a really kind of like subtle, kind of tricky way. It's asking us to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the X square Y on both sides. Anytime you throw anything on the other side of the equal sign, you do its opposite. So my goal was to get rid of the X and Y, and it looks like it's being multiplied, right? So I'm going to do the opposite, so that's why I chose division. So now I have that cube root thing equals 3W X square Y. Okay, so here's the thing. How do I get rid of that little 3 right here? How do I get rid of all of that and this little symbol? Okay, well, let's move it all over here. To get rid of that, we're going to turn it into Z1 over 3. That's how you get rid of it. So when you have like, say like you have Z square root or X or whatever, it becomes Z half. If you just had Z by itself, it becomes Z with a little invisible 1. These look like 2's. So when you have like a 3 up here, cube root, Z, it becomes Z1 over 3. If you had like a 7 up here, Z, it would become 1 over 7. Do you kind of see the pattern? So that's what we're doing here. We're going to equal it to 3 over W, and then we have that X square Y. Okay, cool. We're almost done. I got to get rid of that little nth degree, that baby fraction, that 1 over 3. I got to get rid of that. So what do? Well, to get rid of it, I got to figure out what I can multiply to get rid of 1/3. Well, I can put a 3 up there. And whatever I do on one side, I got to do to the other. Why did I pick 3? Well, if you multiply 3 times 3, you get 1. And why is that? Well, you put that invisible 1 in there. So we have 3 here, and then I got a 3 here. 3 divided by 3 is 1. If I gave you 1 cookie and divided it by 1 cookie, how many cookies do you got? Still got 1 cookie. If I gave you 10 cookies and divided it by 10, that's 1 cookie. I don't know if that was a good example. Okay, so we're going to get rid of that, and it becomes z. It's basically an invisible little 1 right here, kind of like this right here. And then we have 3w over x squared y is 3. This could be the right answer, but we have the ability to distribute. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Z stays exactly the same. I'm going to put this 3 here, and he's going to go here and here. So what would that look like? 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. And then we're going to do 3 over here next to the w. This is a good problem right here. It's asking us to put these together. I don't know if you could see, it's getting messy. So when I have a n times m, do you see how there's a parentheses? It actually equals a n m. And that doesn't seem like very much. It looks like that's nothing to pay attention to. But here's the thing. If you have an a, let's say the a is that x we have, and you have like n times, without the parentheses, no parentheses, m, guess what? It's a n plus m. So you're getting two different outcomes here depending on the symbols. We got a whole parenthesis up in this. So we're actually going to multiply. We're not going to add 2 plus 3. We're actually going to do 2 times 3, which gives us 6. So we're going to do x 6. And then the y is a 3 right here. And this is the final answer. It's very easy, but there's like about 3 or 4 different little math tricks that it requires, which is, I think, one of the reasons it's asking you not to use a calculator. It wants to see if you have the skill set to know basically all the math cheat codes. Okay, I hope this helped. Thanks.